The safety is off. There's a round in the chamber. This is Armed Alabama. Sponsored by McCoy Outdoor Company, Mobile's hometown full-line outdoor sporting products and gear store. An interactive talk show discussing self-defense, product reviews, shooting tips, safety, and more. Your calls, comments, and texts welcome at 343-0106. Now, here are your hosts, retired judge and certified NRA instructor Rusty Johnston and certified NRA law enforcement instructor Adam Strange.
They're gonna pry these guns right out of my hands when they come to take them away. I believe in the rights that my fathers gave me when they signed the Constitution that day. No misguided president or crooked politician with a greasy pocket be spared. When the hard-working man gets tired of your cry, it's gonna rain wrath, beware. Don't tread on me, I'm American free. You're not gonna take it away. I stand up to fight for my freedoms and rights. That's the price you'll have to pay. Don't tread on me, I'm American free. Red-blooded to the core. You ain't ever had a fight in your life like the fight that you're itching for.
Good afternoon. Welcome to the Armed Alabama Show. This is Judge Rusty Johnston along with Will Case, and we've got a treat for you tonight. Remember, the Armed Alabama Show is Alabama's only firearms-based FM radio talk show. We talk about pistols, revolvers, shotguns, concealed carry, ammunition, training, and attacks on our God-given right to protect ourselves and our family. Remember, there's no PC here, no Marxism, and some topics may not be suitable for what do you call them, Will? The people that are...
Snowflakes?
Snowflakes, yeah, that's it. Now, we're doing something different tonight. If you have tuned in on Facebook, we're not there. We finally have got it up and running on YouTube. And to get there, just go to your YouTube channel or go to YouTube and just put in the search engine, Armed Alabama, and you ought to see a live broadcast. It ought to be a lot better broadcast than we've been getting on Facebook. So we're going to try that tonight. And we've got an interesting topic tonight, and we've kind of divided it up between Will and myself, but how to defend yourself, your loved ones, your family, your home, and stay out of jail. And, you know, most people think it's kind of instinctive. Oh, you know, somebody comes in, I'm going to, quote, blow them away, unquote. But there's some hoops you need to jump through. There's some things you need to remember when there's an investigation, and we're going to go through that when you can and can't use deadly force in your home. And Will Case is with us tonight. Will is with the Mobile area Friends of the NRA, and they've got their annual dinner and auction coming up in August.
August 2nd.
Tell us about that, Will.
Yeah, it's going to be at the Battleship again, just like it always is. August 2nd.
And that's 2nd. In the air-conditioned pavilion.
Yes, it is in the air-conditioned pavilion. Hopefully it'll be cooled down by the time everybody gets in there. Doors are open at 6 this year because we had to move it to the summer, and the summer hours for the Battleship are a little different. So we will still have people coming from the Battleship side at 6, but we're going to open the doors at 6 instead of 5:30. We've got a great auction this year. I believe we're doing some great things. The big change is I think we have one big change being the silent auction, and we're actually going to be giving away a gun for the folks that participate in the silent auction. We're going to have gold lines on the silent auction where if you put your name next to the bid on a gold line, that puts you in a drawing for a gun. So if you think about, I kind of want that item, you can actually go down and put your name on every gold line and just go up to whatever you want to get to. But
and for the crazy people, you got to be legally eligible to own a gun.
Right. And the smart person, I'm just going to throw this out there because I can't do it being the chairman. Smart person, the first one in the door, I would personally go along and put my name on every piece of paper at the first gold line on every one of them to make sure I was in for the drawing.
Sure.
So it's going to be August 2nd. Doors open at 6 p.m. Single tickets are $40, couples at $70. You do not have to be husband and wife. It could be brothers, friends, whatever. Get that $70 little bit of discount. We will be selling the tickets at $45 each at the door with no discount for couple tickets. We'll have the kids craft area again, just like we did last year. I think that was a big hit, and I believe I'm going to try to have some kind of like rubber band gun kind of shooting gallery, maybe knock some cans down with the rubber band guns or something like that for the kids to do. Kind of have a little bit of fun.
Like the old carnival.
Right, exactly. Little carnival thing. I don't know if we'll use cans because that'd be kind of loud, but we'll do something. Try to figure something out. Right now, the only place that other than contacting me, you can reach me by phone or text at 251-753-6494 or Mobile Bay FNRA at gmail.com. You can go on the website, Friends of NRA, it's just friendsofnra.org. Find our event. You can buy tickets there. We're also pre-selling the raffle packs. I don't know if everybody's been to an event. You got the girls going around selling the tickets to put into all the buckets and stuff like that. Where we've added one. It's the Platinum package. It's $1,000, but with that $1,000, you get a P365 SIG, which is a $550 gun.
Yeah.
2 gold tickets. The gold tickets are for a raffle or a drawing for a gun up to $1,200 value. 10 red tickets. The red tickets are a gun up to $600 value. And then 40 blue tickets, which that gun is worth about $400.
Wow.
And then 300 white tickets for all the accessory buckets and stuff like that.
Pays to go big.
Absolutely. It really does. I mean, for that one, it really does. And then the $500 package that we normally have, you're going to get a Taurus G2C 9mm, which is a great little small concealed carry gun, 12 rounds. Great trigger on that little Taurus, I have to tell you.
Taurus gets a lot of internet bad publicity, which I think is unjust.
It really does. And, back in the day, I think it probably was justified, but they've come a long way.
What was it, the Beretta plant down in
Brazil.
They make a lot in this country, but they also in Brazil. They bought the
that's
Beretta
where it was.
plant
And they actually make their 92 clone was made on Beretta machinery.
They're tooling and all. So
absolutely. So,
and I know at one time a graduate of the U.S. West Point U.S. Military Academy. He was the president. May have been North American Division. I don't know. I can't remember his name right now.
Right. So with the $500 package, you get that G2C. And then half the same tickets, just half as many as you get for the $1,000. 1 gold ticket, 5 red tickets, 20 blue tickets, 150 white tickets. We have a $300 package this year, which we didn't have before. And with that one, you just get 2 red tickets, 10 blue tickets, 100 white tickets, and then we also have the $100 package, which is a normal $100 package. You get 5 blue tickets and 50 white tickets. So contact me, 251-753-6494, phone or text.
If you don't want to buy that, you just buy 2 tickets and go.
Yeah, you just buy a couple of tickets. We do sell tables as well. You can contact me with those details, and I think, Rusty, you're going to put the information up on the Facebook page. We do have a Facebook page, and to be perfectly honest with you, I don't remember what our Facebook page is.
I think it's called Mobile Area Friends.
It's Friends of NRA Mobile Bay, I think.
Yeah.
If you just search that, you'll find it. Now, there again, the Friends of NRA headquarters is supposed to take over all of the state committee Facebook pages and make just a state Facebook page, and that hasn't happened yet, but it might happen hopefully shortly. But anyway, if you can go there, you can join our Facebook page. We should have everything up there. Come out and have a great time. We do have a good time. We're going to be giving away more guns than we normally do.
How about Friends of NRA Mobile Bay, Alabama chapter?
There you go. Nice and long. I'm going to have to change that at some point.
Yeah.
Also, if anybody has been to the event, we have the Wall of Guns, the game, the Wall of Guns. Well, this year we still have the Wall of Guns, but we also not only have guns, but we're going to have mini bikes on there you can choose if you already have all the guns. Mini bikes, cooler packages, not Yeti. Cooler packages. I don't remember which, Pelican or Orca or one of the other ones that took over where Yeti, dropped the ball. But it's just different merchandise. We're having we're trying to branch out. We're really doing a lot of different things.
So that'll sure be worth it. Reminder again, if you're trying to listen on Facebook, don't go to Facebook. Go to YouTube and go to Armed Alabama, and you can see us live there. We were talking about Taurus a minute ago. A lot of people, Taurus, I got my Smith & Wesson. I still remember when Smith & Wesson was the only gun manufacturer that got in bed with Bill Clinton when he was president. and signed off, on this outrageous liability thing they were trying to shove down everybody else's throat.
I do remember that.
Don't think they're as clean as a whistle when you do that.
Smith & Wesson as a company really has dropped the ball quite a bit in their history.
I read a good article about them that went through all the quality control problems, so don't hold them up as any kind of paragon.
I've got issues.
Of virtue.
The 38 bodyguard pistol, 38 special bodyguard pistol. I have 2 of those from my shop sent back, brand new guns that won't operate.
I'll find this article for you. It's pretty interesting. Folks, remember our number here is 251-343-0106. We'll be right back after this break. Call or text us here on the show.
This program is a production of Armed Alabama, LLC. The comments and views of the hosts are those of Armed Alabama, LLC, for which it is solely responsible. The view and comments of the callers, guests, and texters do not necessarily represent the views of the sponsors or advertisers of Armed Alabama, LLC, or of Armed Alabama, LLC, Bigler Broadcasting, LLC, FM Talk 1065, or WABH. No comments from Judge Rusty Johnston should be taken as legal advice, but as educational information. Judge Johnston is not engaged in the practice of law and should not be sought out to answer legal questions off the air. Seek legal advice from a qualified attorney who knows the complete specifics of your legal matter.
Easy Street. This is Judge Rusty Johnston back. The reason we're playing that is if you're watching on YouTube, which I urge you to do if you can get to a computer, I'm holding a replica, my homemade replica of the baseball bat that Negan, the arch villain on The Walking Dead, would beat people to death with. It is a wooden baseball bat wrapped with rusted barbed wire.
Now, Judge, I noticed that it's got a second coat of barbed wire now.
Yeah, I added some.
So what's going to come next week?
I looked at Negan. Oh, I think blood on it. I looked at Negan's pictures and thought, I just didn't have enough. And I tell you, be real careful if you do this. I had 2 pair of gloves on, safety glasses, and it's not actually one strand. It's about 4, but I started it with the staples you actually use for barbed wire. I stapled it in, put a little super glue, and banged it in, and then wrapped it. And so Easy Street, don't order the one off the AMC Walking Dead site. That's a genuine replica, which is plastic. So
won't do any damage.
Won't do any damage. So we're going to talk about how to defend your house, loved ones, etc., without going to jail. And we're talking about deadly force or lethal force, as somebody would say. Remember, it is a crime to shoot anybody. So how can that be? It's a crime, but you may be justified in doing it. The crime is assault, manslaughter, or murder, depending on what it is. But if you are justified in doing so, it's an affirmative defense, which may even keep you from being charged in the case. But remember, it's always a crime, so don't think that it isn't. It's a very serious thing to do that. Now, when somebody let's say someone enters your house at night, and the old-fashioned break-in, they kick the front door in. There's some things you've got to remember about that. One, obviously, you need the ability to use deadly force, because if you don't have a gun, if you have a gun locked up in your gun safe, that's not going to do you a lot of good. You need something, a little closer that you can get your hands on. And Will Case is going to talk about a couple of guns he recommends in a minute. But you need to let your head clear. And if possible, if it's you and your wife and no kids, have your bedroom fixed up like a safe room. I mean, with a deadbolt, 3 hinges on the door, and just lock yourself in and call the police. We always say when help is, when you need help immediately, it's hours away. When seconds count, help's hours away. But it's safer because you don't know who's coming there. It could be the Mexican drug cartel with 5 people with night vision scopes on, mask on, and everything. So just remember that. But if you can't help it, now another thing to remember, if you happen to be out somewhere and you see a stranger that appears to be in need of help, he's being attacked, beat up, or you're in a store, be real careful about that, because 9 times out of 10, something bad's going to happen to you. You're going to find out you intervene in something, and it's an undercover drug detective trying to arrest the clerk at the 7-Eleven, or it's a bond agent trying to arrest the clerk, or it's some kind of inter-family dispute, you don't have the legal protection the police have. So try to stay away from that. I tell people, don't get involved unless you know the victim as well as you know your own member of your family. So be careful about that. There's blue-on-blue shootings all the time, and they should know better, but they can't always know better.
You got the Hoover guy up in the mall up there,
Right.
Good Samaritan,
Right.
trying to stop a mass shooting.
Right, and
gets
gets in
shot.
the middle of all kind of terrible stuff. Deadly force is defined in our code as the force that causes death or serious bodily harm, or that a person knows or should know will create a substantial risk of death or serious bodily harm. Like the Negan baseball bat. That is deadly force. I mean, you could kill somebody with it. If this was a wiffle ball bat, no, it's not. And neither is pepper spray. But if it's something that could cause a hammer, doesn't have to be a firearm, but by definition, a firearm and a knife are instruments that can cause deadly force. You got to have I call it the 3 A's: access to a gun, the ability to use it, which means the mental and physical ability to use that gun. You know, if you just have one, you've never trained, you're skittish, you probably don't have that mental ability. And you got to have that attitude that if necessary, you can pull that trigger under a life-threatening situation. Everybody's afraid of home invasions, and I understand that. But most home invasions, over 75%, the home invaded, they know the invader. It is a employee. It is a dope dealer friend. It's somebody you know. You collect, let's say, gold coins, and they know it. Or you have cancer and use a lot of drugs, they know it. So it's very rare that it's just absolute stranger.
Right.
But if it is, that's a bad thing. But what you've got to do is get past this. I'm going by my outline. We always shoot to stop the intruder. Now, you're using deadly force, so that's kind of a fine line. And I'll hit a myth right now. Masab Ayub always says, he's got 2 or 3 myths. One of them is I would always use factory ammo anyway, but he said don't use your own hand-loaded ammo because the DA is going to argue that is intent to murder someone. Well, you're justified in using deadly force. You're justified in killing that person. So the issue whether they've been killed or not is not the question. It's whether you had the right legal justification to do it. But I'd still, use factory ammo because if something's necessary, you can always get somebody from the factory to testify nothing was wrong with the ammunition or whatever. You shoot until the person's no longer a threat. That might be, I always tell people, 2 to 3 shots. Just evaluate as you're shooting. Better more than less. It's amazing how many crazy people do not stop when they have been shot one time. When they've been shot and they're on the ground, keep away from them like they are a rabid animal. Don't do CPR. They may be stunned. They may be playing possum, whatever. Don't get near them because they're still a dangerous situation to you. Now, after you've shot somebody, first of all, you want to do a threat ID. You don't want to shoot through the door. But they actually have to be, when they're in your house in the state of Alabama, have to be a threat of doing bodily harm to you. It's either bodily or serious. You don't have to be afraid for your life as you have to be outside, but a person may use deadly physical force, and you're presumed justified in doing that in self-defense if you reasonably believe another person is using or about to use unlawful deadly physical force, using or about to use unlawful physical force against the occupant of the dwelling. That is a bad law because you can't just have someone who has burglarized your house and is in there and you see them and they drop the TV. You've got to have in your mind a concern that they're going to use not deadly physical force, but physical force. That can be a slap, whatever. The key is when you call the police, First of all, don't stay on the line with 911. You've got way too much happening. You've got somebody on the floor wounded. You've got your family panicking. You need to get ready for the police. You don't have time to talk to 911. And besides, you are making a admission to the government when you talk to 911. They're recording it. They can use anything on there against you. So tell 911 where you are, what happened. If you can get in, someone burglarized my house. I was afraid for my life. I had to kill, had to shoot, and then tell them where you are, name, hang up. Now, the police will arrive, and the standard legal answer is say nothing. Well, that might work if you were in your ex-girlfriend's house and you shot somebody. Well, let's say your current girlfriend's house and you shot her ex-husband coming in the window. That's a little sticky situation. I probably wouldn't say anything. But if you're in your house, in your bedroom, your children are huddled behind you, you tell the police, never been so afraid in my life. I had to shoot to save my family. There's the guy's knife, his partner. Give them the bare facts, your driver's license, because the police can make a decision as to whether or not you've put forward enough of a case of self-defense, and they don't have to arrest you.
Right.
So if you just clam up, you're probably going to be arrested. But like I said, it depends on where you are. So you want to keep that, and it depends on your mental state. You may not be able to say anything.
Or you might say too much.
People talk
exactly.
Too much. So you just remember that. We're going to go to a break, folks. If you have any question about this or anything else, call us at 251-343-0106.
Step up to the firing line. Armed Alabama is back. Questions, comments, and texts at 343-0106.
How you boys put those guns down?
Say what?
Well, we're not just gonna let you walk out of here.
Who's we, sucker?
Smith and Wesson and me.
Clint Eastwood. I think he calculated everything we're talking about. One thing to remember, too, is someone doesn't have to be armed to constitute a threat to you. Armed in the traditional sense, gun, knife, maybe even baseball bat. If you're an 80-year-old man and somewhat of an invalid, and it's a 21-year-old, tough high school dropout, that disparity or difference in force, he could kill you without, probably using a weapon. Or you're, 45, but there are 8 guys that surround you, and they're their fist against their other hand. That's enough because they can inflict deadly force.
Absolutely.
So don't have to be armed to do that. My rough rule of thumb is, even though we hate to say kill and all, it's really not a death. It's really not a word that's going to wipe you out. When you're trying to determine whether you can use deadly force, think in your mind, is this a kill or be killed situation? If I don't kill, am I going to be killed? My family going to be killed? My children, my best friend? That's people with you. That's not the person in the parking lot, which you don't know that situation. That's when you call 911 and be a good observer. Yes, sir.
I just have a question about that, Judge. If just because an intruder has made their way into your home, that alone doesn't justify you shooting them.
That's correct. Under Alabama law, many states it is. You have to be concerned that they're going to use imminent force, physical force against you, slapping you, knocking you down. Now, most people just kind of gloss over that, which I don't have any problem with. But just make sure you say, if I didn't shoot, I was going to be killed.
And you've said this before, but I think it's germane again. If the intruder sees you and your weapon and decides to take off running down the driveway,
Don't chase them.
Don't chase them and don't shoot them.
That would be revenge, not
That would be murder.
self-defense. Yeah, I've got old saying from like
because they're not a
1700s.
threat
Right.
if they're running away.
Yeah, if they're retreating, they're not a threat.
And remember this on your part too. Don't let the whole thing. I can run in my bedroom and lock the door and be safe. Don't think of yourself, well, I'm really not manly. Because remember, he who fights and runs away lives to fight another day.
Absolutely.
There's nothing wrong with running away to get out of a bad situation. You don't have to fill out a bunch of forms.
Well, especially if you got a family. I mean, you need to
A-
secure the
absolutely.
family, get them barricaded, have your deadly force aimed at the door,
Right.
to make sure if they come through that door. That's a different story.
Yeah,
If they're
absolutely.
doing the, here's
But
Johnny.
if you got kids all over the house, you go in the bedroom, guy with the TV, and he runs out the door, let him go.
Absolutely.
I know it's easy for us to say that's just property, and I think there's plenty of property worth killing for personally, but make sure your family is safe, first of all, and that you do that. Don't fire a warning shot. That's dangerous, silly, and plus you may only have a second or two to get a good shot,
Absolutely.
center mass off. And so don't fire a warning shot. And also don't try to shoot to wound, to in the leg. Experts try that. It's very difficult. When you've
Absolutely.
got a few seconds and the arms and legs are moving faster than the body.
Don't try for a headshot.
Yeah.
Center mass.
That's right. I mean, a
Stop the threat.
You're either killing them by shutting down their central nervous system. That's the headshot at the medulla, or you're shooting them so they bleed out.
Right.
Exsanguination. Now, there's one other thing. If you get a crazy person, you've shot him several times, you can shoot basically the pelvis, and it'll generally break the pelvis and they'll collapse. But you're trying to make them bleed out.
Right.
And that's the whole issue of this. Now, Will, you've looked at, I asked you to look at, somebody didn't, have any preference, doesn't already have an arsenal of some good guns that would be fine for home
Right.
defense for kind of a novice.
Yeah, and we've talked about this before.
Yeah.
The myth that the shotgun is the best home defense gun. I personally
Myth, you
don't.
said.
Yeah, myth. I don't use a shotgun for home defense. The big myth about that is you don't have to aim a shotgun because it spreads, and we both know that it does not spread that
Right.
fast in a home invasion situation. It does not spread enough to where you do still have to aim a shotgun. Plus, it's just big.
it's about
heavy.
like
it's
a
bulky.
salad plate at 21 feet.
Absolutely, if that.
Yeah.
It's big, it's bulky, it's heavy, it's hard to wield around corners.
You may only
can't-
have 4 rounds in
Right.
it.
So the best thing, in both of our opinions, I believe, is the carbine. And my personal
And a carbine is just short rifle. There's
short
no
rifle,
technical definition.
16-inch barrel, 16.5-inch barrel, basically. Usually, Smith & Wesson, Ruger came out with the PC carbine.
Got a lot of good reviews.
And you know what I like about it is it comes with 3 different magwells. So it comes with a Glock magwell, a
that's
Smith & Wesson
great.
magwell.
You can match it to
and a
if you have
Ruger
a
magwell.
pistol.
So if you have a Glock pistol, you put the Glock magazine well and it takes the Glock 17 mags.
Yeah.
So you can go interchange those, which I'm a huge fan of.
Yeah.
Easiness. It's not expensive.
It's a 9mm.
9mm. That's I think.
Maybe a 40.
I don't know if I don't know
45.
if they've come out with 40 yet.
Yeah.
I don't know if they're actually going
But
to come out.
I'd
with
go
40.
with 9. I mean,
I would go with a 9. 9's come a long way as far as a concealed carry or
right, self-defense.
the self-defense
type
gun.
rounds.
The other one, the High Point. We've talked about that.
Yeah.
High Point's it's a less expensive
It's
version.
kind of a brick. Not
It
real
is,
sexy,
but
but it's
everybody that I know that
$2.99
has
or so.
one just
Yeah.
loves the thing.
Yeah.
Just absolutely loves it. And it's like $300 gun.
Yeah.
The Ruger runs $450,
Yeah.
$500 somewhere to that effect. If I remember correctly, it's closer
If you're
to
not
$5.
going to carry a gun concealed, a carbine's perfect. You can even put it in your car. You're going on a long
Right.
car trip.
Right, and
But-
I personally like the idea of an AR pistol. I
Yep.
do the AR pistol because you can get
Good
a short
article
barrel.
in The Truth About Guns saying that really should put an end to short barrel rifles because it's
Pretty
got all
much.
the pluses and really none of the negatives.
Right, and you don't have to worry about a tax stamp. Wait that long, $200 tax stamp.
Of course,
all
they
that good
could
stuff.
change the regulations like
Probably,
they did
but-
on us.
The main point that I like to make is we were talking about visual, visualizing your target. I guess you'd say a light. Every home defense gun should have a light on it.
Yep.
First of all, If you hit them with a high beam, it's dark, and you hit them with a high lumen flashlight, it's going to blind them. So you have a tactical advantage
you've got
at that
what
point.
we call a 1911 rail, a Picatinny rail,
Right.
There are plenty of lights you can put on there.
Oh, plenty.
And I don't have the pressure one because I find the wire gets in my way.
Right.
I just
Yeah,
have
yeah,
it
just
right
have
where I can punch
the
it with my
toggle
thumb.
switch. I personally like the Streamlight. I got the TLR ones. I don't worry about the lasers. I got a TLR one. They're about $110
Yeah,
now.
they put,
they're
250 lumens
I
or
have,
something?
I have the high lumen, the HL.
Yep.
It's 800 lumens. Wow. So yeah, you're going to blind somebody.
And
Plus
by
it
the way,
strobes.
like every month or two, I check it. Just
Oh yeah, you got to
know,
check the batteries.
yeah.
Make sure. I've got little kids running around. They like
Yep.
to play with my flashlights and run the batteries down. So, unfortunately, they take the CR123s. They're like $3 a pop. So
Yeah.
it's always fun.
Those are
But-
good to have in your car too. That type flashlight.
Right. And but I'll tell you, Costco, they have a 1500 lumen flashlight right now that runs on. I think it runs on 4 C-cell batteries.
And some of the a lot of them have double A's that work in them too.
Right.
So if you have a choice,
Yeah,
go with a normal.
Yeah,
type
the
batteries.
double A's, it's just easier to get those.
It is.
and they're cheaper, and they run out faster, I believe. But they're cheaper and they're easier to get.
And let's
Handgun-
remember too, racking a pump shotgun does nothing. You're assuming that somebody that's in your house is sane with it. He's not drugged up, drunk, crazy.
Well, even the adrenaline dump that you get,
right.
They've talked about this before, and I actually had that.
Just can't.
I used
had
to
it
think
too,
that
and it was
and-
like somebody calling me from across the street.
Right. They won't hear that.
Yeah.
And that's the reason the police have to scream at the people to try to break through that auditory
And I always say
defect.
what you're doing when you rack that shotgun is say, "Hey, criminal, I'm over here in the dark with an unloaded shotgun."
Well, and if you remember Joe Biden,
Oh yeah, fire 2 bullets in the
take
air.
your double barrel, 2 rounds in the air,
Yep.
and you won't have any issues. Well, no, you're standing there with an empty gun at that point, so
Right,
you have a big
exactly.
issue. So again. The carbine is probably the best. The AR pistol, I believe.
That's a good idea.
And the great thing about the AR pistol, if you get an 8.5-inch barrel,
It's a buyer's market right now too.
absolutely, and you can get a suppressor on it, so you're not blowing your eardrums
Yep.
out and blowing your family's eardrums out, and it's still a short package.
Yeah, and that's not like a machine gunning. There's a suppressor, a couple of $100. You just have to fill out a form and wait.
Yeah, that's
8 weeks. or
There's
something.
actually an easier way to get one. I found that out. You can actually get a kit, manufacture one yourself, and apply to the ATF, and it's about a 3 to 4 week turnaround.
Wow.
You still have to pay the same $200 tax stamp, but it's a very short turnaround.
But you don't
for
lose
those.
your hearing.
Absolutely.
Which is really, I've lost enough of mine. It probably wouldn't make any difference at this point. But,
Right.
once again, don't shoot in the air. Like Biden
Yeah.
said, if you can use deadly force, use deadly force. Know who your target is. And that's what kind of watch it when you go through the NRA's, whatever, 10 gun safety. They change them all the time. But I noticed one of them was do not load your gun until you're ready to use it. Well, that's kind of impossible in a self-defense
It's pointless.
situation. Yeah, it's absolutely pointless. That means, somebody's mugging me. Let me load my pistol. And
No, your gun should always be loaded, ready to go. If you have small kids, there's plenty of safes,
That's
fingerprint safes, biometric safes,
a lot of
all that
ways
good
to
stuff.
handle that.
Way,
As I always say, you're to consider every gun is loaded, so why not have them loaded?
There's actually, I saw on Twitter the other day, there's a company, and I don't remember the name of it, but they have basically a biometric holster that you can put your gun in, it locks in, and it takes your thumbprint,
Oh, wow.
and your gun is right there. You just grab it, your thumb automatically lands right on it, right on the little pad,
Pops up.
it right out.
Let me do one more show and tell if you watch on YouTube, and you can watch this later. This appears to be volume 11, Title 12 of the Code of Alabama. But, as my assistant's getting ready to do, open it up, and this is a way you can actually place self-defense arms in various rooms and all without it being, if you have liberal friends that you don't want to get on the bad list and all. So it goes right in there. I didn't make that; someone else did, but they're pretty easy to make. People sell them too, but this
Do they have those at McCoy's?
You know what? I'm going to tell them they ought to stock these. We could get some old craftsman to do that. McCoy's Outdoor on Spring Hill Avenue, just west of I-65. And we'll be right back after this brief break.
Step up to the firing line. Armed Alabama is back. Questions, comments, and texts at 343-0106.
I don't know who you are. I don't know what you want. If you are looking for ransom, I can tell you I don't have money. But what I do have are a very particular set of skills. Skills I've acquired over a very long career. Skills that make me a nightmare for people like you. If you let my daughter go now, that'll be the end of it. I will not look for you. I will not pursue you. But if you don't, I will look for you. I will find you. And I will kill you.
Good luck. All right, we have back to Armed Alabama. We have a couple of questions that have been asked. One of them was what happened to being able to, if you're armed and they run away from you, they've been stealing something, what happened to being able to chase them down and shoot them? That has never been the law in this state, so just forget that. However, they also ask about a citizen's arrest. If you see either a felony or a misdemeanor committed in your presence, I wouldn't advise it, but, some people live in situations where, maybe 3 hours for the police to get there. You can arrest them. You don't have to read them their rights. All the rights do, it doesn't make the arrest legal. It means if they confess to you after you question them, that confession can't be used. But, no, you can still make a citizen's arrest. Somebody shoots your dog in the front yard, you can make an arrest. And what was our other question? Oh, if you're surrounded by a number of people.
No, it's if you see somebody being attacked and then you pull your gun and the person runs off.
Oh, yeah, good. That makes a couple of good points. If they run away, that's great. Chalk it up to and good luck. Here's what I would do, though. I would always report if I had to pull my gun in some situation to the police. Number one, that the perpetrators who ran away could be dangerous to other people. You want to get it on the record. And two, in the unlikely event one of them calls the police and says, hey, there's a crazy old man that pulled out his gun and threatened us. You've already gone down as the good guy.
Yeah, you don't want to get arrested for brandishing.
Yeah, exactly. So you're already down as the good guy. And really, people that do that are going to do it to somebody else.
I wanted to ask another question. If you're, let's pick Walmart just for
well, it is
sake
kind of a
conversation.
So.
But you're in the parking lot, you're carrying concealed, and you see a woman who was putting groceries in her car and she's suddenly getting attacked by a couple of thugs. Are you under any obligation to intervene?
You're under no obligation whatsoever.
I think if you're armed, you're more likely to intervene than if you weren't armed.
It kind of depends. And let's say you followed the old lady out to her car, a nice old lady, she's unlocking, and then three teenagers, one of them comes up and hits her with something. You pretty much know that it's not a police officer trying to arrest her for forfeiting bail or something like that. You just got to be your own judge. But if you come up on something and everything appears equal, that's when you don't want to shoot. You may warn people away, call the police, watch. But let's try to get this call for you. We've got David on the phone from Theodore. Hey, David.
Hey, guys. How are you?
Fine. How about you?
Good. Listen, guys, I heard something last night, and I apologize if y'all have went over it before. I'm an over-the-road truck driver, so I don't get the news like the normal public gets. Sometimes I'm a week or two behind.
That's probably better.
I heard something last night that really bothered me and disturbed me about some allegations about the NRA misusing funds. And it's really bothered me.
Go to thetruthaboutguns.com, thetruthaboutguns.com. They've got several articles on it. And read up on it. What I'm urging people to do, and I'll need to post, is if you're a member, write one of the board members and say, I'm concerned about this, clean up your house.
Right. Well, that's exactly. I support the NRA. I mean, they're one of the
But we need them to clean up their act. Yep.
Yes. Well, I really wish that Wayne LaPierre would just go ahead and retire or step down. It would clear up a little.
There's always a time to go. You can't stay too long.
It would take the cloud. I mean, that's the whole point. And there's this big infighting in the board, and it's just it's muddying it up.
It's like a lot of organizations.
Like I said, the NRA is one of our strongest supporters of our Second Amendment.
We need to make sure it's saved and stays above board, and so the other side won't have any kink in our armor.
That was my big concern. I don't want them to have anything to come back on us Second Amendment supporters with.
I said, go to the truthaboutguns.com, and there are a couple of articles, 3 or 4 articles on there. I think it'd be good to read them. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Thank you. I appreciate it, guys.
Thank you, David.
Bye-bye.
Let me just segue into I don't know where the dues money goes, and that's pretty much what we're talking about.
NRA is completely
the Friends of
separate
NRA is a separate
nonprofit
organization. We are obviously affiliated with the NRA, but we are a separate organization, separate entity.
Right.
We're a 501c3 charity. We know exactly where the money goes at the Friends of NRA. 50% of it stays in the state of Alabama for us to use for grants, for Boy Scouts, 4-H clubs.
Right.
And surprisingly enough, there are a lot of high schools and a lot of school districts in the state of Alabama that are bringing sporting clays to the schools.
That
which
is great,
fantastic.
because I've seen that up north so often on like Shooting
Absolutely.
USA, and I thought, why don't we have it down here?
And the other 50% goes to the national, but it stays for the YES program, Eddie Eagle. You know, it stays in our
either
side
school
of
training. Sometimes it buys vests for law enforcement.
Exactly.
But it's not thrown into the NRA.
Exactly.
Wayne LaPierre fund.
We do have one other question on online, and it is: what if the person is inside your house and is larger than you, and you're afraid that they will take your gun?
That would qualify
as
being afraid they're going to use physical force against you.
Right. And getting back to that whole, if you pull your gun out and the person runs off, that is like 98% of gun use for self-defense.
That's right. And that's wonderful. But like I say, call it in. Most people never do, and there's very little chance some hood is going to call and report you. But that person's a danger to other people.
Well, if nothing else, let's get the statistic on the books so we can use that to say guns do prevent crimes.
Absolutely. No question. We're just covering the tip of the iceberg. If I can find my old video, or I'll make a new one, how to look up self-defense law in Alabama. I'll make a new one and put it on YouTube and Facebook. We're going to try to stay here on YouTube because we can do HD videos here. I want to thank all our sponsors: McCoy Outdoor, Mike Ward's Liberty Safe, Hanson's Heating and Air. I want to thank Hunter Security, Steve Moore Lawyer. Let's see, who else? We have Matt Green. We have the Ace Hardware stores in Spring Hill, Moffett Road, and up in Creola. And, it'll be hurricane season pretty soon, so don't wait till the last minute to buy your – I don't understand why people don't keep the plywood from the year before, but apparently they don't.
Yeah, cut it and get it ready. That way, number it so you know where it goes and just pop it on there.
And did you mention Ward's Liberty Safe?
Yeah, Mike Ward's Liberty Safe. The best thing you can do is to cut the water oaks and pine and any kind of dead trees away from your house, because most hurricane damage, especially if you get out of the floodplain, is from fallen trees.
Right.
And so, if you do that, it's one of those expenses you hate to do, because after it's over, it's not like showing off a new car or something.
Yeah, and insurance doesn't cover taking a good tree down.
That's right. But, boy, it's in the middle of a hurricane, and those water oaks are heavy. It hits your roof. You got water in everywhere, and you got a real nightmare. So the time to do it is not when everybody else wants it done. At other times, a lot of good tree people out there.
That's when you pay like 4 times what it would normally cost.
Yeah, so get that done. And if you really look in the statistics, you get 40 miles inland. There are very few windows you really need to board up. You feel safer doing that, that's great, but go look at some of the damage after a hurricane hits 20 miles inland. It's tree damage. That's the damage to the homes, and it does a lot of damage,
Absolutely.
Especially the water oaks and pines. We plant pines everywhere, and the water oaks just come up like a bahia grass or something.
Judge, can Will give his phone number again?
Yeah, give your phone number. I'm going to put up your info when I get back.
Yeah, it's 251-753-6494. That is a cell phone, so you can text me. Or you can send me an email at mobilebayfnra@gmail.com, or go to the website, friendsofnra.org.
And when is your event again?
August 2nd, Friday.
At the Battleship Pavilion, which is air-conditioned. And we will see everybody next week. And you can watch this on YouTube for some period of time, maybe forever. So thank you so much. We'll see you next week. And Will be with us also.